Joining me now to weigh in on this is the founder of America First Legal, former senior White House advisor, my great friend Stephen Miller. So, Stephen, there's a lot of insanity in all these budget bills, but this one has got to be near the top of the list. Now, there's welfare money for illegals, but this is a separate category, as I understand it. Can you walk us through this?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, in the Build Back Better plan, so-called, they have tax credits for illegal immigrants. So if you're a low-income illegal immigrant that, say, is making $25,000 a year, and you have four young children, you would get about $14,400 for free annually from the federal government. Now, separate and apart from that is the Department of Justice preparing to offer up to $1 million per family, as you mentioned, for illegal immigrants whose adult household members were prosecuted and incarcerated and therefore separated as a result of that incarceration. And that is happening again through the Department of Justice that is now the source, obviously, of such outrage all across the country.
So the ACLU is backing this. I mean, the policy here, first of all, you're not supposed to cross the border. I mean, that's point number one. But point number two, didn't the Obama administration have a similar policy as the Trump administration with respect to separating the families?
Every administration that's ever been in office that has ever been responsible for administering immigration laws has had from time to time to prosecute illegal immigrants. And as a result of that criminal prosecution, obviously minors are not incarcerated with the adults. I mean, under this theory, when Vice President Harris was Attorney General of California, she prosecuted many low-level drug offenses that resulted in the separation of tens of thousands of U.S. citizen families all across the state of California. Is a single one of those families going to get $1 million payout? And let me flip this around for a second. You remember well, President Trump gave a platform to American citizens and legal immigrants whose loved ones were murdered by illegal immigrants, gang members, MS-13 killers, and so forth, including in the Long Island area. He gave a platform to these families. Had they ever been offered one red cent by their government? Had they ever been offered one penny for the permanent separation they experienced because past administrations, like President Obama's and now President Biden's, are refusing to enforce the law?
Now I'm just going to simplify. It's welfare money for illegals. And
it's subsidizing lawbreaking.
This is reparations money. I was just going to go there. This is reparations money for unlawful actions.
The United States is the victim here. In other words, the country is the victim of widespread lawbreaking at an endemic scale. And you now see today over 7,000 illegal immigrants a day crossing the border illegally that we know of. The victim here is the United States. We have to spend, as you know well, Larry, hundreds of billions of dollars for education and health care and emergency room services and public housing and so many more expenses. The people that need reparations are the U.S. taxpayers.
That's right. And not to speak of the job losses along and near the border as you're flooding it in with cheap labor. I mean, there are economic consequences as well as criminal and family consequences.
Working families end up on the unemployment lines. You know, I'll give you a great example. You have two construction firms. One follows the law, one doesn't. One hires illegal labor. Guess what happens to the one following the law? They go under because they followed all the rules that we passed. Every worker there, now they're on unemployment. Now they can't pay their bills. Now they can't pay their rent. Now they can't care for their kids. Again, where's their reparations? Who's taking care of them? Their only crime was being born here.
Yeah. Now, Stephen, while I got you, I got one more for you. I can see you're fired up, and that's great, because this stuff is insanity. Now, the Supreme Court has essentially reinstated, as I understand it, the Remain in Mexico policy put into place by President Trump, which on day one, I think, President Biden shot down. But now the Supremes have come back, and they said it's okay. But Mr. Mayorkas, Secretary Mayorkas at the Department of Homeland Security, says, no, we're not going to use it anyway. And I guess they're going to try to appeal it somehow. But then, Stephen, he says, this is the part that I really was interested in. The administration is pursuing other ways to reduce immigration to the U.S.-Mexican border, including root causes that lead to fleeing Central America and coming to the United States to reform asylum policies. What are these root causes, do you think, that he's talking about, and how exactly are they going to address them?
So, great question. Let me begin by stating that I believe the Biden administration should be held in contempt of court for failing to, now it's been several months since they lost this court case, and they have not re-implemented or reinstated the Remain in Mexico program as required by law and as ordered to by the courts. Let me just state that at the beginning. They should be held in contempt of court. Secondly, as to your question, this root causes thing is all nonsense. They don't believe it, and no thinking person should believe it. We get illegal immigration, Larry, from 160 countries around the world. Central America comprises just 5 of those 160 countries. In the Northern Triangle, just 3 of those 160 countries around the world. People come to the United States for all kinds of reasons illegally. Some come because they have relatives here. Some come for jobs. Some come for welfare. Some come for health care. You could think of 1,000 different reasons. At the end of the day, unless this administration's plan is to make every single country in the world economically equivalent to the United States of America, you're not going to do anything with this strategy to reduce illegal immigration in our lifetimes or the next 100 lifetimes.
You know, not even a supply sider like me believes that's possible within the bounds of realism. But, you know, again, if you're going to provide reparations and welfare and free health care to people entering the country illegally, isn't that an open door? And
that's, well, you've just summarized the Build Back Better plan. I mean, Larry, you talk about every facet of this bill on your show, and you're a national hero for doing so. You talk about how the business tax is going to push all of our jobs to China. You talk about how the energy tax is going to make it impossible to heat your home in the winter. You talk about how the climate activism is going to economically cripple our country. But the bill also does what you just said: welfare, health care, public benefits, amnesty, tax credits for illegal immigrants. The government is literally paying people to break our laws. It's just that simple. That's the Build Back Better plan.
Yep. I mean, I think asylum reform, yeah, that should be in an immigration reform package, but we need an overall package. An overall package, which, Stephen, as you know better than anyone, includes law enforcement, walls make good neighbors, you know, Remain in Mexico. I mean, the tragedy here, this has become a national problem, right? It's a big national problem. People are furious all over the country. You've got, you know, besides the illegals coming across the border on the border, you've got drug trafficking and sex trafficking and recidivism and criminals and so forth, and sanctuary cities that won't provide information to federal law agents. I mean, this has become a major national problem, and best I can tell, Steve, the Bidens are doing nothing. They don't have an action plan at all.
No, in fact, every week brings a new announcement. We talked about one today, but every week brings a new announcement to make it easier to come to this country legally. Mayorkas just issued another directive severely limiting ICE's ability to conduct arrests in almost any part of the country. It just keeps going and going and going. The reality is they eliminated President Trump's historic and successful border security and enforcement measures on purpose for the goal of making it easier to come to this country illegally. And as a result, we now have the worst border crisis, not just in the history of our country, I would suggest in the history of any country. In the history of the world, no one's ever seen anything like what we're seeing today. And so at the end of the day, the real question is, Larry, are there no moderate Democrats left in the entire country? Where's John Tester? Where's Mark Kelly? Where are any of these people? Not one single solitary word about the worst border disaster anyone has ever seen. And they're about to vote for a bill to make it immeasurably worse.
Yeah.
It's all amnesty and no security.
That Kelly, Senator Kelly from Arizona, which is a swing state, he's kind of gotten off scot-free on taxes, on spending, on immigration. You're exactly right. I mean, we're for legal immigration. A good thing.
Not Mark Kelly. All Mark Kelly wants, apparently, is illegal immigration, and he represents the border state at the center of this. And you never even hear his name said. He shares a state with a senator we talk about all the time. It's like Mark Kelly is a ghost. I mean, I mean, I've never even heard a word from him, Larry.
All right. Steve Miller, good stuff. Can't thank you enough, as always.